Tonight, a funding boost aiming to recover native species in the Flinders Ranges, and concerns for a Port Lincoln site chosen for a proposed rocket launch testing facility.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. Threatened species recovery in the Flinders Ranges has received a major boost with the new funding partnership for the Bounce Back program. The Environment Minister says the extra funding will help sustain species populations whilst also protecting the landscape.
Our most at-risk species in desperate need of more protection.
Conservation is regarded reasonably highly by a lot of people, and once you lose a species, you can't get it back.
The Bounce Back program now receiving a $600,000 injection thanks to a partnership between the state government and Foundation for Australia's Most Endangered Species, supporting new populations of the western quoll and locally extinct red-tailed phassigale.
This will help us look after these species, reintroduce them, deal with the pest animals, the foxes and the cats and the goats.
Since the program started 30 years ago, it's removed more than 150,000 goats from the Flinders, Ollery and Gawler ranges, seeing the successful reintroduction of native species without the need of fences.
It's made a phenomenal difference to an iconic species like the yellow-footed rock wallaby, which is now really abundant in those areas that we're managing.
Environment Minister David Spears says the program has been integral to threatened species recovery, with the western quoll and yellow-footed rock wallaby bouncing back from the brink of extinction.
Creating a landscape in which these species can survive and thrive is absolutely critical from both a conservation point of view, but also we shouldn't shy away from the economic benefits of drawing people into the region.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
There are growing concerns over a proposed rocket testing site near Port Lincoln, which would see 3 rockets launched over the Bight. Environmentalists say it poses a severe risk to local wildlife, but the company says it's doing all it can to reduce the impact.
A proposed rocket testing site near Port Lincoln getting off the ground, but not everyone is happy.
We're really concerned about that. We don't think that that's a good step or a step in the right direction. We think that the company should be looking for another site that isn't a conservation area.
Whalers Way set to become a temporary launch site, with the company hoping to blast 3 rockets into space by the end of the year.
Test launch campaign is to gather data, so to gather actual measured information that will then help the South Australian government assess our proposed development of the Whalers Way Orbital Launch Complex.
But it's raising concerns with local environment advocates, saying it could threaten native species.
There's a southern emu wren, which is a small secretive bird that is protected under federal environment legislation, very fire sensitive, and there aren't that many populations left on the peninsula.
Should the first test show that the effect on the local wildlife is unacceptable, then we have to reconsider what we're doing or where we're doing it.
Public consultation is now open, with calls for locals to voice their opinions about the project.
If people have concerns, they should definitely have an opportunity to express them and for us to consider what they're saying and potentially shape what we're doing.
Dylan Smith, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Landholders from across New South Wales have converged in Broken Hill for the Pastoralists Association of West Darling's AGM. The issues raised were varied, but many agreed the influx of tourists is putting a strain on current infrastructure.
In a region as vast as Western New South Wales, coming together as one can be difficult. That's said to be the power of the Pastoralists Association of West Darling.
There are a lot of local people from here, off properties and other businesses that are involved in agriculture that are here as well.
It's the 114th AGM the association has held. More than 60 landholders and business owners present today. The issues affecting those living off the land.
Telecommunications and roads and the water situation in the river.
Many saying those issues are being exacerbated by the Far West's tourism boom. Drivers said to be inexperienced on outback roads and visitor numbers overwhelming current mobile towers if they can get a signal at all.
Barwon being the size it is, over 356,000 square kilometres, to tell me that they've improved the connectivity in just 3,000 square kilometres is a long way short of what people out west expect.
The issue of mineral prospectors also coming to the forefront, with claims landholders are footing legal costs and bearing liability.
$2 companies in particular being licensed to explore, which exposes landholders to great risk, because if they're not taking on the financial risk, clearly we are.
It seems to me, from what I've heard, that there's a bit of bullying tactics going on.
The association hoping a united voice will be a force for change, even when separated by hundreds of kilometres. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, Broken Hill's RSPCA urges locals to desex their cats. And the Port Augusta community gathers to acknowledge Aboriginal history and shared cultures. Welcome back. The RSPCA is encouraging pet owners in Broken Hill to take advantage of a subsidised cat desexing program. Neutering pets said to be one of the most effective ways to reducing the city's feral cat population.
A simple procedure that's our best option to prevent stray cats. Jason bought Cookie and Neo as companion animals for his children and believes others should follow his lead.
Be a responsible pet owner. Get your cats desexed. Keep an eye out. You'll find these programs if you actually look.
More locals taking up the offer for discounted desexing.
We're booking out all of our desexing days with these subsidised clients.
Broken Hill City Council partnering with local vets and the National Desexing Network in the hope of reducing our feral cat population. $30,000 covered by council to drive down the cost of desexing for pet owners.
It encourages responsible pet ownership and reduces the amount of unwanted kittens that we see.
Under the scheme, those on pensions or low income pay just $20 for male cats and $30 for females. Pay for 2 cats to be desexed. Any further are free of charge. Microchipping also thrown in for $5.
Being a carer, we don't really get that much money. And, a program like this just helps out people like myself a lot.
Vets say it's a simple surgery that takes no more than 15 minutes.
We do all of our procedures under general anaesthetic. They have pain relief and then they go home that afternoon.
Cat owners should call the National Desexing Network to find out if they're eligible. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Broken Hill City Council has thrown its support behind the establishment of a local drug rehabilitation service. It'll join the local primary health network and the Far West Local Health District to develop a funding proposal for next year's federal budget.
I'm hopeful that with such a motion supported unanimous by all councillors, that this will give a bit of backing to the any entities formed to lobby for this.
It comes after funding was secured for a rehab clinic in Dubbo. That site will become Broken Hill's nearest facility in the state, despite being almost 8 hours away. South Australia's regional environment is receiving $4.2 million for 9 projects under the inaugural round of the state government's Landscapes Priorities Fund. In the far north, the SA Arid Lands will receive $350,000, aiming to optimise kangaroo management. The Environment Minister says overabundant kangaroos impacts the environment.
So we do need to have better kangaroo management controls in place. The money that's going to the Arid Lands Board will help us do that. It'll help us do research and hopefully we get better at kangaroo management.
Projects are expected to commence next month. Several Eyre Peninsula communities have been successful in securing government funding as part of the Stronger Communities program. 8 projects will be funded as part of the rollout, including $20,000 for roof repairs in Coffin Bay and $6,000 for irrigation works at Streaky Bay Oval. More than $60,000 has been injected into Eyre Peninsula communities so far as part of the latest rollout. For more information, visit the Stronger Communities program website. Port Augusta is jumping straight into National Reconciliation Week celebrations, hosting a community day at Gladstone Square. Organisers say it's to bring the whole community together, strengthening relationships now and into the future.
More than a word. Reconciliation takes action.
I think that just in itself it's enough for people to understand what it is.
In its 20th year, National Reconciliation Week is being celebrated in Port Augusta, uniting organisations and residents at Gladstone Square for a community day.
It means coming together as a community, seeing people as individuals, understanding history and wanting to move forward together.
It's about community and everyone, individual, families, community, agencies, all taking action towards reconciliation within Australia and within our communities.
The event aiming to bring the community together, celebrating relationships while also educating people about Aboriginal history and culture.
Understanding what reconciliation is, understanding what acknowledgement means, understanding what respect means.
What I've actually come down to do is to learn a lot more about culture, to meet with people, have conversations about reconciliation, what it means to me and what it means to others.
It's hoped this year's theme will encourage people to move towards more impactful action.
Reconciliation is not only about us, it's about the whole community and non-Aboriginal people making an effort to be a part of that process.
Celebrations will continue into next week, with the whole community encouraged to get behind it. Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. The ballot opens for more of South Australia's popular state travel vouchers. And Port Lincoln businesses prepare to take part in this year's long lunch. Hello again. The hugely popular accommodation Great State Vouchers are back, with round 4 opening for ballot this morning. Lucky recipients will score either a $100 voucher to use at participating Adelaide or North Adelaide accommodation sites, or a $50 voucher for use in suburban or regional South Australia. It's hoped the added round will continue injecting much needed funds into the tourism industry. The ballot will close on June 1. Interest in this weekend's Broken Hill Writers' Festival has been so high, organisers are turning people away. The 2-day event will include talks from both fiction and non-fiction authors. There'll also be seminars on how to record family history and write poems or screenplays.
All the sessions have been really popular and they've been filled up, so it's been more successful than what we were anticipating, which is fantastic. Don't worry if you've missed out on a spot in the inaugural festival this year. Plans are already underway for a bigger and better event in 2022. 5 students studying at CUC Far West have been honoured with Dean's Awards from their respective universities. Among them, Corey Paulson, who's about to complete a Bachelor of Health Science while being a dad to 4 and working full-time in mental health.
I remember late nights last year, up till 12 o'clock. It shuts at 12, so I was walking out at 12 and I got escorted out of here actually by the security one night.
I think the opportunity that COVID opened up for students is more degrees are being studied online, so it means that students don't have to leave home if they don't want to.
A record 190 people have registered to use CUC Centre in Broken Hill this year. Port Augusta City Council has been successful in receiving an award for excellence in people and culture. The accolade received at the South Australian Local Government Professionals 20th Annual Leadership Excellent Gala Awards. Last year, City Council developed and rolled out an online HR program aiming to improve employees' commitment to council and provide career planning. Council's human resources, media and IT team were involved in the project. This Sunday marks the return of Port Lincoln's iconic long lunch after last year's event was axed due to COVID-19. Businesses are now finalising preparations ahead of the popular celebration of local food and wine.
A day of whining, dining and fashion as Port Lincoln prepares for its biggest foodie event of the year.
We are ready and COVID safe, and I think all of the venues are, and we can't wait to see everybody.
8 local venues opening their doors, showcasing the best local produce the region has to offer. From seafood laxers to Spanish mussels and even a boozy berry trifle, there'll be plenty available.
We've got some Boston Bay small goods sliders. We've got some of the local gin. We're going to, with our kingfish. Yes, we've got some great local produce.
Hundreds are expected to hit the streets and pack restaurants, with all proceeds being donated to children in need. The event already creating a buzz around the city after last year's lunch was cancelled.
I think the community is very excited for this event, just from all the comments on socials and comments around town. I think everyone's pretty pumped to have the long lunch back.
There'll be plenty of live entertainment on offer, while a city loop bus runs throughout the day, making sure you don't miss out on any of the action. COVID marshals will be keeping a close eye to make sure everyone is doing the right thing.
Make sure you're scanning in, we'll be keeping an eye out and make sure we're adhering to all the regulations.
Organisers putting the finishing touches on the event, which kicks off this Sunday from midday.
All ready to go with bells on.
Dylan Smith, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll hear from our footy experts with their tips for weekend games. And Alex Sykes will join us with the weather forecast. Welcome back. It's expected to be a bumper weekend of football across the Gulf. Let's hear from our footy experts with their tips for the games.
Well, COVID has struck here in Broken Hill. The combined game between the women, the Sunraysia League from Mildura in Victoria, against the Broken Hill team, cancelled, canned, postponed, thanks to Mr COVID. But there is a historic combined game going ahead. Broken Hill men will play the Far North League of South Australia for the Miners' Cup. This contest has been running since 2008 with honours about equal. What will happen tomorrow? Broken Hill will win. How much? 20 points. The Miners' Cup is coming home.
Welcome to Port Lincoln Footy Tips. We kick things off with Waybacks hosting Tasmans at Centenary Oval. Waybacks are in good form and I think they're going to win this one and win this one by a fair margin. In the next game and match of the round, we got Malleys hosting Lincoln South at Pecker Park. This can be anyone's game, but I'm tipping Malleys to win this one as a home game, win this one by 3 goals. In the final game, we got Boston's hosting Marble Range at Paul Oval. Marble Range won't lose this one. It's just a matter of how much Boston's can keep them down. I'm tipping Marble Range to win this one by a big score.
Hello and welcome to round 6 of SGL football. This round sees Central taking on West at Port Augusta Central Oval. West broke through for their first win of the season last week and will come into this match with some much needed confidence. I'm tipping Central. At Port Oval, it's South who will face Port. When these two met back in round 1, it was Port who took the points. I'm tipping South in this one. At Port Pirie's Memorial Oval, it's the undefeated Sollies who take on the second place Lions. The first time these two met, it was Sollies by 3 points in a high quality match. This encounter should be no different. I'm tipping Sollies to continue their unbeaten run.
Round 7 of Wyler football gets underway this weekend. Saturday at Bennett Oval, it's Aruna Bay versus South Wyler. Bay's ticking along very nicely. 3 wins, 3 losses, and they should have another win on Saturday. Probably match of the round on Saturday at Memorial Oval, West Wyler versus Central Wyler. Last time they played, Central's had a comfortable win, but West is now back on top of the ladder and they should sneak across the line. And finally on Sunday, Bennett Oval, North Wyler versus Rapina. Roos are going along okay. They haven't yet won a game, but at least they're scoring. But they're going to be no match for a very powerful North Wyler team.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather and the forecast for the weekend. Here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, Ruby, and good evening, everyone. It was a good-looking day today with mild temperatures, and the weekend isn't looking too bad either. More on that later. From 3 p.m. today, Wyler was partly cloudy and 17 degrees. Broken Hill had morning fog and then reached 15. Coffin Bay was cloudy and got to 19. Looking further out across the region now, Port Pirie, Port Lincoln and Port Augusta were all cloudy and 18. Kadina, Cleve and Adelaide all cloudy and got to a high of 16. Woodner reached 19. Cooper Pedy was mostly sunny and 17. Clare reached 14 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, bright high jet stream cloud over much of South Australia is not producing any rain. Low cloud about the southeast in easing onshore winds is only bringing the odd drop of rain. Skies are clearing in the west under high pressure and a dry air mass. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. East to southeasterly winds 10 knots, seas below 1 metre and south to southwesterly swell also below 1 metre. Mainly fine conditions forecast for Saturday. Port Lincoln and Cleve both partly cloudy and set to reach 17 degrees. Similar conditions in Woodner 18. Wyler and Port Augusta both 17 and Kadina will top 19. Port Pirie also 19 degrees. Clare and Broken Hill both set to reach a top of 14 there. And heating up slightly on Sunday, sunny conditions across Broken Hill, Port Pirie, Kadina, Wyler, Woodner, Port Augusta and Adelaide. Partly cloudy in Cooper Pedy and Port Lincoln. Temperatures set to be in the high teens. Looking further through to next week now, partly cloudy across the Gulf on Monday with slightly warmer temperatures ranging from the high teens to low 20s. A max of 21 in Cooper Pedy and Port Augusta, while it will only get to a high of 18 in Adelaide, Kadina and Broken Hill. Similar conditions across most of the Gulf on Tuesday, but showers are forecast for Port Lincoln and Kadina. Cooper Pedy and Port Augusta both 21 degrees. Adelaide is set to reach a high of 19. Happy Friday, everyone, and with the forecast, I'm sure everyone will have an enjoyable weekend as well. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. See you later with a weather update. Back to you, Ruby.
Wonderful, thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Friday evening and for the week. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening and have a lovely weekend. Good night.